Hey, what's up? I'm back. Talk some estate planning. Answer the question: how does a prenup affect your estate planning? Before I get to that, though, I want to remind you, as always, if you need estate planning help, or if you want to just ask some questions, if you think I'm lying to you, if you want to talk some more, go to cmslawfirm.com. You can set up a time to talk with us for free. cmslawfirm.com. Super simple. Okay, so I have clients and potential clients that call from time to time that are coming into their estate planning work with a prenup. If you don't know what a prenup is short for prenuptial agreement. Prenuptial agreement means an agreement that you're making before your nuptials. Your nuptials are sort of your wedding vows. Typically, what you do with the prenup, one of the main things that you're going to do is just identify what property you are bringing into the relationship and what property you want to keep separate, what property you want to keep as your own as you enter into this relationship, even over time. Typically, in Washington State at least, by the way, if you're in a different state, the rules can be very different. So if you live somewhere else, do not pay attention to what I'm saying, at least this beginning part. In Washington State, for the most part, from the time that you get married, really from the time that you start sharing everything that from that time moving forward is what's called community property, which means you each have sort of like a 50% interest in that property. And if you commingle funds, if you buy stuff together, if you do these things, then you own half. With a prenup, you can specify that you do not want to create sort of that community property kind of standard with the things that you come into the relationship with. Okay, now, why is this important for estate planning? Because if you're not careful, you can sort of opt yourself right out of that prenup with the things that you're doing after you're gone. So one of the things that you get to do with your separate property is give all of it to anybody that you want. Now, if you want to give that to your spouse after you get married, that's totally fine. You can do that. But if you don't have a will, or if you decide that you want to give that property to someone else, then you can do that. And the prenup will sort of back up the fact that you have that 100% individual ownership interest in that property that you're bringing in. So if you've got a prenup and you're coming in to do your estate planning with anyone or with someone, make sure that you let them know that you have that. They're probably going to want to read it just to make sure it doesn't say anything sneaky or interesting. Sometimes people will negotiate estate planning provisions in their prenup, which basically says, if you do some estate planning, if you get a will, then you have to do this thing or that thing. This person gets this thing or that thing. You want to make sure that you follow those rules. If you don't, then it can cause problems, right? And nobody wants to go to court. Nobody wants their family to go to court after they're gone because they didn't make sure that their prenup and their will or their trust or whatever, they didn't match up correctly. So these two things come into play in that way. If you don't have a will and you have a prenup and you die, then your property will be distributed via intestate succession. This is also important because your separate property is typically distributed a little bit different than your community property. All community property typically goes to the spouse. If you don't have a will, separate property is typically given to the spouse in a percentage and given to your children, if you have any, in a percentage. So make sure that if you have a prenup, that you are taking care of business. And by the way, if for some reason you are already married and the two of you agree that something should be separate property, or you want to create a separate property interest in something, you can do that with something called a post-nuptial agreement. Post, as we all know, means after. So after marriage agreement, you can always sort of agree and sort of contract out of these community property standards. I don't know if you can hear my kids or not, but they're loud. But anyway, that's how prenup and a postnup really can affect your estate planning. If you've got one, that's fine. Those things can actually be super helpful in sort of the grand scheme of your relationship and obviously in the way that you own property. But you want to make sure that they are addressed if you are doing estate planning. All right, that's it. As usual, if you have questions, let me know. Or if you like this, let me know. If you need help or you want to talk some more, go to cmslawfirm.com. And if you watched this far, thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everything. And have a great day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.